We are rolling.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Creative Businessmen. Today we have actor Lee Spencer on with us. Lee, good to have you, man.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I love this place.
Thank you. You want to just tell everyone about yourself and what you do, and we'll get started?
I don't do anything. I was just walking by the studio, and they said, do you want to do a podcast? It's really weird. Yeah, my name's Lee Spencer. I've met Neil through In Studio, the acting studio here in town, the on-camera studio, taping him for auditions for movies and TV. I'm an actor. I work in the Southeast. Grew up here, lived out in New York and LA a big chunk of my life. I've been back here for a few years, and I've been with Drew Matthews over at In Studio for about 2 years now.
Awesome.
Taping, teaching the adult acting program on camera.
And you're a good example of you can be a really good actor and not live in one of the main film
Thank you.
cities, or
Thank
film
you
markets.
For the good actor compliment. Yes.
Yeah, you have, what,
Yes.
42 or 43 credits on IMDb, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
They're all good credits.
And they're actual legitimate credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just
Big roles.
how you'll see some people have 50, 60 credits and they're all uncredited.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
You did extra work. Okay.
I guess the biggest role you've had, or the most recent big role you had before COVID was the Peanut Butter Falcon, right?
Well, the most recent one that was released, the most recent
Yeah.
one that I've taped were Bluff City Law and a miniseries called The Act on Hulu.
Oh, nice.
So those two.
Very cool.
I shot those two the year before all this happened, and Peanut Butter Falcon, the 2.5, 3 years ago.
Oh, that was it?
It took that long to release.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Because it just came out last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was a good. It was just under 2 years
Okay.
from the moment that I filmed it, because it was a smaller budget.
Yeah,
They were
independent
looking
film.
for the distribution.
It's a
They
great
entered
movie,
it.
though.
It is a great movie.
Yeah.
I so rarely get to do something that I would actually watch myself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. The last year was that good year because I thought The Act was a wonderful miniseries and Peanut Butter Falcon was great. But 9 times out of 10, and no disrespect because I'm happy to get jobs, but you know, I'm the sheriff getting killed on Vampire Diaries or some crap like
Yeah.
that. You know, like I did a lot of One Tree Hills, and I'm like, I can't imagine watching the entire show. But no diss on that because I know a lot of One Tree Hill fans. But
Still a big show, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, most of
awesome.
the stuff that I'm fortunate to do, I probably wouldn't watch myself.
Yeah. And in studio in Greensboro is where I tape my auditions usually.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful studio.
Tell you what, man,
Yeah.
we just moved to a new location off Norwalk, and it's huge. Oh man, so we can do classes and taping simultaneously. And at some point, we'll be able to do multiple classes because we're just expanding, and we're getting the studio next door as well. So much room. We're even building a podcast room ourselves and
Nice.
a voiceover room. We can accommodate classes of 10 people right now where they can sit in their nice cushy chair 10, 12, 15 feet apart. It's that big, so everyone's comfortable.
It's great.
And we just bring them up, put them on camera, and then we have a taping room in the front where we tape. Gosh, we tape anyone who wants the best looking tape they can get in the Triad area, and even we have people come from Raleigh, Virginia, and Charlotte sometimes. They will tape for some major TV shows
Yeah.
and movies.
Well, the quality is it's about as good as you can get.
It is. It really is.
for a taping.
Drew's done an amazing job with that, and so we have that reputation. And a lot of kids. It's amazing the amount of kids in North Carolina that have huge agents in L.A. or New York, and they're reading for monster projects.
Yeah.
You know, and we're taping them. You know,
There's a lot of big actors in North Carolina.
there are.
Yeah.
There are a lot of working actors.
Well,
I mean, most actors.
You and Drew are two of them.
Well, most actors that work.
Yeah.
That live in North Carolina, like Keith Harris, who's at our studio, myself, Drew, Kelsey, his wife. You know, we're all, we have other stuff. We have the studio.
Yeah.
And we've been around for a while, and, you know, we'll get our shots every now and then to do stuff. But for the most part, the ones that get huge stuff are young kids.
Yeah.
We have, I think, 4, maybe 5 at the studio now that are series regulars on Netflix shows and other and whatnot.
Nice.
And they're all, every one of them, I think, were people who trained with Drew for 4 or 5 years since they were like 12 years old or something. And they're so comfortable.
Well, kids have an advantage because they don't have inhibitions.
They don't.
Yeah.
We have these big HD screens, you know, that we tape people on, and the kids are 100%. comfortable watching themselves while they're auditioning. It just doesn't bother them. But 9 times out of 10, someone over, say, 40 years old comes in, they say, "Oh, turn the screen away." They can't stand to watch themselves,
Yeah.
and they're a little more inhibited.
Yeah.
The kids are just loose with it, you know?
Yeah.
It's been ingrained in
They're
them.
growing up with it.
It's the same thing with like you learning a musical instrument or a foreign language in your young kid. It just, I don't know, it seems to come easier.
When your brain's really malleable.
Well, you haven't beat yourself up with a lifetime of "I'm not good enough."
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you haven't given in to the, I guess, the expectations of society and what you're supposed
Yeah.
to do and how you're supposed to act and be. And
You listen to all of that garbage your entire life of you can't do this or that, or you
Yeah.
shouldn't do this or that, and then it really does a number on you. And I see it for a lot of the older actors that come in, you know.
Yeah.
It's and it's a tough racket to begin with.
And I was always a kid that kind of did what I wanted to do anyway, but I was still affected by those societal standards. You know, I still notice it today. You know,
We
certain
try to
times.
get rid of that stuff. I mean, I wish I was more like you then, because I was the kind of kid who always wanted to please, and I didn't want to step out of line. I just was afraid, you know.
Yeah.
And then I remember taking my first acting class when I was 9th grade or something. We did these lip syncs, and I did one to an old song called Alley Oop. And I remember getting up, and I was so shy, but the minute I started doing it, I took to it, and everybody in the class applauded and went crazy. My little round, pudgy face turned red, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I found an outlet.
Yeah.
I was able to get up on stage and cathartically be someone else, so to speak,
Yeah,
instead of myself.
that's cool.
Because I've never really been 100% comfortable in my own skin. You know,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. So reprogram yourselves. Do what you want to do.
It's a constant thing as an adult, reprogramming myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
But that's all about the journey, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Have you noticed an increase in auditions? I mean, since
Yeah.
COVID, I know
Yeah, last
everything
couple
was
months.
completely shut down. So
Yeah, last couple of months we've, oh my gosh, it's been crazy. We take people for, well, right now there's a movie Scream 5 in Wilmington.
oh,
We've taped for Outer Banks, Walking Dead, a couple of 2 or 3 Hallmark Christmas movies that are shooting around the area. A new TV series called Delilah. It's Oprah Winfrey produced. It's starting in Charlotte. Read people for the Aretha Franklin miniseries in Atlanta. Just
picking up.
quite a bit, and even for myself. It's funny because
Yeah.
being older now, I'm a little pickier or chooser about what I decide to do because I don't really want it to interrupt my teaching over at the studio. But even for myself, I've had 6, 7 auditions, and I thought, wow, I was surprised. Because I
Nice.
just don't get them like I used to.
Yeah.
This is all in the last 2 months, maybe.
Okay, cool.
It was dead
What
from March.
What percentage do you think you're at right now compared to normal before COVID?
I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe 60.
Okay.
We're usually a bit busier.
Yeah.
Like this week, for instance, I've got 3 people to tape, and that's it. On a good week, we would tape as many as 20. You know?
Now, are you guys doing in-person classes yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because we can space people out.
Right. Yeah. You have a big studio.
Huge studio. It's like
Yeah.
a warehouse.
Yeah.
And people are comfortable. They sit there in their mask while the class is going on. We wear a mask, and when we walk over to the camera to tape, I can pull it down and talk to them, and I'm still
Way away from.
way away from them.
Yeah.
And if they want to get up and breathe and relax, they can get up and go over to the kitchen area, which is 30 feet away, and take their mask off and
Yeah.
chill. I mean, they're very, very comfortable.
That's
and we
good.
take all the protocol, of course, for hand sanitizer and washing your hands. And I don't get, the only difference right now it's not frustrating, it's just something I have to avoid is getting, because I have a scene partner class, is getting 2 people to read really close off camera.
Yeah.
Like within, say, a couple feet, and especially having like a confrontational scene of lovers or something who are screaming and spits flying everywhere. I'm avoiding those for right now. So I'm coming up with other kind of
A lot of audition work and stuff.
Yeah, it's always in a nutshell, whatever methods or types of classes Keith and me and Drew and Kelsey and Donald and everyone's teaching there, bottom line is we're trying to get people ready to audition in the Southeast market for the kinds of roles that they would read for.
Yeah, right.
In my particular class, one of the advanced classes, I give out scenes that they may or may never read huge scenes like that. I give out long, big scenes from movies and stuff like that. More often than not, people are reading for what you would call an under 5 day player.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But it's great to book them, you know.
Oh, yeah,
That's how you build your resume up.
Yeah, and it still pays well.
And it pays well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, very fortunate to be there.
That's awesome. So you, your first experience in acting, you said was 9th grade?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then I started doing plays in high school. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Now, was there a period in your adult life where you got away from it for a while and then came back to it, or you've always done it?
No. You know, most actors that I know are they have another skill. You know, they're carpenters or they're full-time teachers or they're whatever. But me, I was always the struggling actor. I did the New York, L.A. bartending thing.
Oh.
And so if I wasn't doing, I can't tell you the amount of restaurants and bars that I've worked in. Because in New York, L.A., and even here when I came back as an old man in my early 40s, I'd be waiting tables or bartending. Get a show, go do it. I do theater as well. I'd go do a show at Triad Stage. That's 7 weeks of employment. I'd quit my job. If they hire me back, fine. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
Get a few days on a TV set. Oh, well, I can afford to pay my rent for a few months, and I don't need to work in a restaurant. So that was the kind of life I've led.
Almost nomadic.
Yeah. It keeps me in this little bubble of not maturing.
That's okay.
That's fun.
I'm a man child for sure.
As long as you're enjoying it. Yeah.
I got to tell you though, my wife would say that I'm still a man child. So
Well, but you have some stability. You have a wife, you know.
Yeah,
true.
true.
The thing that my trade-off for me is I never came from money. I just didn't have it. I always struggled, and I didn't have a family. You know, I didn't have children.
So
that I know of. A series of monogamous relationships my entire life, traveling from city to city. Crazy life. A lot of good fun memories, though.
Yeah, so
a lot of
what
good
you're
stories,
saying is you're
some of which I can't tell here.
Yeah, you're single though, is what you're saying.
I'm a single man, yeah.
Yes. Are you're on Instagram, or do we need to tell?
No,
people
I don't do any of that crap.
None of that stuff. You can't slide into the DMs and all that.
I don't care about that. I don't do any of that. You know, no, I'm not. No.
No Instagram.
I even got off all social media.
All right, so you want all knee to knee, face to face, belly to belly contact. Fair enough.
There you go. Yeah.
I like that.
No,
Probably better for your mental health. It's probably better for your mental health.
Perhaps it's always greener on the other side, right? I mean, I vicariously live through my friends' kids and have a good time with them, like I'm an uncle and having a good time. You know, I love kids.
Well, I'm referring to staying off social media.
Oh, you're talking about social? Yeah. I haven't really missed that at all. In fact, I feel a lot more at peace this particular tumultuous year.
Yeah.
Or this is the worst year I can think of. I mean,
Yeah.
like everyone else. Okay, I remember the 2001 9/11. That's a traumatic time. A lot of crap was going down in LA then. But this is the worst year of my life as a whole that I can
Same
remember.
here, yeah.
But everyone can say that.
Yeah.
It's just. And then Eddie Van Halen died yesterday.
I know.
Even
yeah.
just, it's just nothing surprises me at this point, you know?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with the alien report. The New York Times said that the government has alien spacecraft or something.
I haven't heard that.
You didn't see
one.
that?
No.
It's this huge article. The New York Times came out with an article like 3 months ago and said that they're releasing all the UFO evidence they have from the Pentagon and that they have some type of material or spacecraft that's not from
Not of this
planet,
Earth.
not of this Earth.
Yeah.
And nobody gave a shit about
Nobody
it.
cares.
Like it just
That would be.
Nobody said a word about it. Like it's just it's like it.
You
like
would think that's the thing we would be talking
this
about.
year
No.
is so crazy that just people are like, oh,
aliens.
who cares about aliens?
That's-
Yeah, let's just get through this year.
That kind of stuff fascinates me more than anything, though. Like if
fascinating,
we
yeah.
were to discover a new planet that was Earth-like, to me that would be number one thing in the news.
We've done that a
but
lot.
it wouldn't be.
That's happening.
We have. I know.
Yeah, that's happening a lot now.
That fascinates me.
Neil what's his name? Neil Degrasse Tyson. What,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
He's my hero.
He was
I
on
love that
yesterday,
guy.
I believe, and they discovered the gas that's in our intestine whatever in our stomach, whatever. When, and then they discovered this in the atmosphere of Venus.
Yeah.
And so what's going on is there's
gas. People have been farting on Venus. And they've
yes. I think
the speculation.
Yes, I think what's going on is when live material is decomposing, it releases this gas.
Sure.
And there's an area because Venus is like a pizza oven. It's hot.
Yeah.
But what's happened is that the gas is floating into the atmosphere, and there are levels of atmosphere where it's surviving. They've found pockets of atmosphere that have these microbial, all this stuff. So there's evidence of life. The problem is our technology level is not there today. We can't see to the surface of Venus, for one, and see things moving around. But at some point, we should have the technology to be able to go into Venus, and they think that that's
you mean land like a rover or something.
Yes.
Well,
is it, how hot? It's a pretty hot planet.
I don't think you can land on Venus. The atmosphere is so thick and dense that the pressure on the surface would just destroy anything.
So he said
it's like 800 degrees.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's what he was saying yesterday. I think it was yesterday or today. I was watching this, and he said that he was more excited about. He said Jupiter or Mars. I can't remember, but
probably the moons.
One of the other ones. But he said that it was a huge thing. But again, you come back to this like life. We're not there, but like he's like, there's no question in my mind that there's life other than us.
Oh, yeah. There's trillions of
I grew up
stars.
thinking that Venus was the one with the scantily clad women running around. There's a planet of women.
Yes.
Or something. Yeah.
Men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Oh, there you go.
They're really tough if they're there.
Yes.
I read an article about the Venus thing about a month ago when it first
came out. Yeah.
Thing. But they were saying that there's a possibility that there's some type of microbial life in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I think the telescope they're working on now will be powerful enough to give us the data or give scientists the data to see if that's true or not. But it's too early to know.
It's just fascinating.
Apparently, several continents or several countries rather had their satellites. Like it was a joint effort.
Yeah,
apparently,
they used
which I thought was pretty cool. But who knows, man? But yeah, you'd think that's how shit this year's been. All this stuff, I don't hear nobody talking about it. I don't hear anything about the aliens. I've wondered.
The aliens is a big one, though.
Yeah, I want to know.
Huge.
I want to go ride in the craft that's not of this earth. I mean, that's like it says. So instead of saying a spacecraft, it says something like "not of this earth."
Yeah, material not of this earth.
Material not of. It's made of a material not of this earth. I'm sitting here going, well, wait a second. Why don't you just call it a?
Why tease us? Just tell us what it is.
Yeah.
So you know what it is? Some bureaucrat somewhere with an attorney,
Yeah.
and I can respect this on some level, said, I have to be able to get on stage or on stand or on a microphone and say that there are no UFOs. And so in order to do that, I need to be able to say it's a material not of this earth.
Yeah.
Because I didn't say I didn't get up.
Well,
they're classifying as a material not of this earth.
But they released the David Fravor stuff, which it was already out anyway. But they've verified it now, and that that's clearly a UFO. They don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who knows?
And he's a very reputable person. Yeah. He's a Navy pilot. So
well, they tried to discredit him, didn't they?
No, they
was
never
it him or some of the ones?
They tried to discredit the scientists from Alamos Lab or something. What's his name?
This is just cool. It turned into a conspiracy.
Yeah, and I'm not a conspiracy theory guy.
Apologies.
But
screw actors.
But
let's talk about this.
Yeah. But the David Fravor stuff's really interesting. Yeah. They have footage of this. They call it the TikTok UFO, and it moves in ways that are
Is China own
impossible.
that too, or
what is it?
Does China own that too?
Oh, maybe.
Sure.
But it could be some type of drone technology. But it doesn't have a heat source. It has no sign of propulsion. It just moves impossibly fast. Like it moved. They said it moved from outside of our atmosphere down to almost the surface of the ocean in like a second, which is 60,000 feet or something in a second.
Yeah.
And then it went miles in just seconds. But it was hovering in one place, and they were flying jets around it, filming it and stuff. So it's really
Who was the
fascinating.
dude that jumped from the outer atmosphere?
Oh, that was crazy.
That's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
What's his name?
It was Elon Musk was behind it, or no? Is that a different?
I'm not sure about
I don't
that.
think he was behind that one. But
I can't. I know
forgot
exactly
who it was.
It was
Forgot his
awesome.
name.
Yeah.
It's the most amazing thing I've
amazing.
ever seen. We should be talking about that every day. That's
I
the
agree.
most amazing
It's
thing
the one
I've
that the
ever seen.
drink was sponsoring, right?
Yeah.
Monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Red
He had
Bull.
sponsors all
Red Bull,
over his
that's right.
parachutes
Red
coming
Bull.
down.
The Red Bull guy.
That's
Yeah,
right,
yeah, Red Bull guy.
That's it, yeah.
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 No, that was awesome.
Even in space, you've got to be sponsored. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Well, I think you have to go pretty far from the Earth before you actually get into true zero gravity. Like
Yeah.
when you escape the Earth's gravity.
That's what blew me away. That's the one thing I kept thinking about was when would that scoop him up? And
He's like the International Space Station and when you see like the SpaceX astronauts or NASA astronauts in the SpaceX craft, like going around like in space.
Yeah.
The reason they're weightless is not because they're in zero gravity; it's because they're falling around the Earth. They get into a trajectory where they're actually falling around the Earth, and it's just they're using the Earth's gravity to make them keep falling, and that's what makes them weightless. But to actually be in true zero gravity, you have to be quite a ways from the planet.
I wonder how many astronauts there actually are now.
I don't know. Good question. Not a lot.
Are they mostly?
Are they, I don't
Who
know
are
how.
astronauts? Are they engineers mostly, or
They're,
scientists? What are they?
They're Air Force pilots.
I was gonna say a lot of them are pilots.
Or-
yeah.
yeah.
What about the Space Force? I'm guessing that's
But
what
they're
they're all
also
going to
scientists.
be.
Oh yeah,
That's probably what the Space Force is going to be full of.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, this is way off topic and has nothing to do with acting. but
We've gone
we're
way off,
but
but
I
it's
got
all right.
There's this. I got to be real careful how I say this. So it's not offensive. There's a girl that I know from a long, long time ago, and she has a guy that she's with, and the guy is a shorter, pudgier version of me. Clearly never been athletic in his life. Never. I mean, it's just. And she told me that he was joining Space Force. Now, yeah,
As what?
I don't know.
He's the cook.
Yeah, and no, to my knowledge, no like special education or like I'm just sitting here going and like this went on for like 2 months. I kept hearing about it.
He's a good storyteller.
Yeah. And anyway, I think about this, and we've gotten to the subject, and this physical image, mental image rather, of this guy just popped into my head. And long story short, it fizzled out, and he came up with some wild excuse as to why he was choosing not to do it, but they wanted him
He stuck to his story for a while though.
for 2 months, maybe almost
wow.
3. Yeah.
That
And-
takes some balls.
So you were asking, what type of guy, who's that? I'm sitting going, I know exactly.
And this guy popped into your
This
head.
guy, I was like, it's
Yeah,
not him.
yeah, Space Force. I'm Space Force. I'll be going up there.
Yeah, I'll be
That's-
going up. I talked to Trump the other day. I'm joining Space Force. Yes.
That's a true case of delusion.
Nothing
right
would
there.
surprise me. Kanye West is
Yeah,
a member of
yeah.
Space Force. Nothing would surprise me.
that would be. I think that's
He
possible.
at least has the money to
is
probably get up
possible.
there.
I think that's
That's
actually
what I'm saying.
possible.
He could
Yeah.
probably pay for his
Yeah.
own. Yeah, sure. Oh,
So,
God.
I think you're right on the social media stuff, man. I fought it for years. I've not had. I just got back into it, obviously because of this. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably coming up on a year now, but I went. We got Facebook. The people on my Facebook are like, it's my children, my wife. It's all family stuff.
Yeah.
If you're not part of my family or that inner circle, I don't have you on there, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a public profile. I almost want to delete that. The Instagram I have, I battle some days of a love-hate relationship with it. All my stuff's a business. It's all positivity. I don't get in the political and I don't get all the BS. But I see these feeds of just crap, and I'm like, not picking any one political party or any one person.
Right.
And I just get so irritated. I'm
No,
like,
it's like a train
divisive.
wreck, and I find myself reading these threads.
yeah,
We all are caught up with the drama.
yeah. I just
made a vow not to comment on anyone's.
there you go.
That's good.
And
I
so I
avoid it
haven't,
too.
and I haven't commented on anyone else's for years.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll like someone who we just had a baby. Great. Give
Yeah,
them a heart.
congratulations.
Yeah. But all that other stuff I have no time for. And
Yeah.
and so I've been off for a few months. I went back on a couple weeks ago just to look at it and check and see what am I missing or whatever. Because I don't have that need anymore to check it.
Yeah.
But I did go back on. It was the same crap.
It is, man.
Same shit. So
I
got
try-
right back off again.
Yeah, I try to post positive stuff on
Yeah.
there, because there's so much division in the country right now. And we're all on the same team,
Yeah.
so I try to post stuff on there to remind people that we're all human.
Yeah.
and we need to work together.
And there's aliens. There's got
Yes.
actually the aliens would help out right now.
I agree.
Like if
It'd be a good distraction, a welcome
Yeah.
distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be
yeah.
a welcome distraction.
I'd like to see him come on down. You'd like to hang
Friend
out.
or
yeah.
foe.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, well, half the country that we have wants to kill something. There you go.
Well,
So
I was reading today that there's going to be a civil war.
Yeah.
Well, there's speculation we're
gonna
in a
work?
cold civil war. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like the one in
Fighting.
No.
the
man.
1800s, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we should all hope that it doesn't come to that because they're.
Well, if it actually came to that, I mean, most of my more liberal artistic friends would be killed quickly. You know, it's like,
I don't mean this to be.
Nobody's going to fight.
I don't
No,
think it
of
will
course
either.
not.
But the only comment. This is a very dangerous comment to make. But I'm going to say it anyway. Like the liberal, the problem. Most of those individuals are not like tactically trained, military trained.
of course not.
And when you see some of the ways they aggressively fight for their opinion, which you should, and their beliefs and views, if the other side of those were to be let the handcuffs off, I think it would be a bloodbath.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
So,
a
like-
scary thought, yeah.
So, like for me, it's like you might want to back off just a hair.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying one's right or the other wrong.
No,
I'm just saying like
No. I mean, just
Yeah.
if someone feels passionate about anything in this life,
they should be passionate
they
about
should
it.
have the right to be able to express it.
Right,
But
yeah.
to be honest with you, on both sides,
I agree.
Most people just want attention.
Yeah.
They really don't even know what the issues are. They're ignorant as
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah.
They just want attention.
And a lot of people want the same things. They don't
Yeah.
realize they agree.
Actually,
Of course, they want the
They're
same
just
thing.
divided
man.
by
Yeah.
politics.
Actually-
They're looking at too much media and social
Yeah.
and social media.
Let's pick so AOC is an easy target, right? But there are some things that AOC is trying to say that I can understand. That I can say, you know what, I get what she's getting at.
Yeah.
I may not agree how she's getting there technically, like with all the points, but a lot of there's things of what she says that I go, actually, this is reasonable. We could take this out. We can do this. I could agree to some of these things for sure. I could see that these could be better. So if you can get people like in a rational, like get everybody talking and it not be so much hate, but it's just too much division.
They used to be able to do that
They used to be able to do it. yeah.
decades ago.
There's no objectivity. Like
Yeah.
people can't,
Yeah.
because you need different points of view, different perspectives to find solutions to problems, right?
Yeah.
Ruth Ginsburg passed away, right?
Yeah.
And this is made political, which I think is terrible. That her death's being politicized by either party. And you go, but there's things that she said, like she's an intelligent, you can't say intelligent woman she's intelligent, period. Her brain, the way she thought, like they're methodical in her rulings. There are some things in her rulings, because I'm self-proclaimed student of law, I guess. There are some things the way she wrote that I'm like, wow, like that is when she makes her points and what she does. And that's been like diminished somewhat because of this bullshit, you know? And it's frustrating, but then you take it, and whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you're taking things that this woman has done and trying to use it for your political purpose when actually, that's not what she wanted,
Right.
So it's irritating, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, on both sides. You've got
yeah.
an
Yeah.
incredible amount of ignorance.
Yeah, I'm not
If
not
you ask
picking-
them about the real issues, they wouldn't be able to answer you.
No, I agree.
They vote for reasons that are so trite.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing almost.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
I don't even enjoy talking to anybody about any of these labels:
Yeah.
Democrat, Republican, Christian, atheist,
agree.
whatever. I'm not into any of that anymore
man.
because I started thinking in my last moments in life, what am I going to think about?
Yeah.
that I voted for the right candidate. For God's
Actually,
sake.
I'm gonna.
And I know
judge you.
people who would jump down me just saying something
Just
like,
saying that,
even
yeah.
if I put that on Facebook,
Yeah.
I would be destroyed.
You'd be yeah.
I'd be destroyed.
I think I'm going to judge you based off mine and your interaction together and how you treat me and how I treat you. And I think
Yeah.
I could give a fuck or a
Listen, that's
shit's
what we
less about
remember.
anybody else.
In the end,
Yeah.
it's the people that remembered you and loved you and
That's
the
right.
people you loved.
That's right,
That's it in the end.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm attracted to the world of acting because, you can use all of that. And that's what it's all about.
Well, and not to blow smoke up your ass, but I think you have a lot of people that love you, that respect you, that talk well about you. So what you're doing is working.
What are they saying about me?
Oh, something about your package is very, very big.
Hey, let's have a drink now.
No.
Now we're getting into some interesting topics here.
I think it's more so about the quality of person you are and how I think that you're willing to go above and beyond and help others. And, I've heard Neil talk about some of the things that you've helped him through. So I think it's just a series of things where I don't think you're necessarily exchanging dollars for hours. I think you're you're trying to help other people accomplish.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, listen, if you're able to do something that it's a combination of you can pay your bills and it's something that you're being of service, let's say. Now, how important is acting in the great scheme of things? I don't know, but I think it's pretty cool.
Pretty important. I think it is, man. I think it's pretty important.
And I was telling Drew the other day, and I get a charge. I get more of a charge now seeing one of my students book a job than me when I book a job.
Yeah. Well, you're building careers.
Well, maybe it's even.
Yeah.
But, I really do. I get truly excited when I've seen someone work on their craft, so to speak, and they get stronger and they get an agent and then they book a job.
Yeah.
They're so excited. And I think, well, this is great. This is what it's all about. It's the journey.
I think that's the key to it. And maybe I'm wrong, but we've come to feel if I help enough other, and maybe this reason is self-serving, but in my mind, if I help enough other people get what they want, I'll get what I want, right? Like, and that's basically like
I think it's hard to escape this self-serving thing. We're constantly battling the ego through our entire lives.
Yeah.
But when it boils down to it, we have such a survival instinct that it is going to be about ourselves ultimately.
Yeah.
I want to survive. So to give it all away is the utopic sort of idea.
You have to be a monk.
Yeah.
You have to be. Well, that's why we have the figureheads. Whatever you believe in or divinity or not, when you have someone like Jesus, Muhammad, Gandhi, whoever, these are the figureheads you look to who were quote unquote closer to that perfection.
Yeah.
And even that may not be completely the truth, but we know it's about our ego and trying to escape that because I tell you, the only time that I've ever felt completely at peace is when I'm not thinking about myself. When you're in the actual act of doing something, like if I'm at the studio and I'm working with somebody, I've got my intention 100% on them at most of the time.
Yeah.
And while I'm doing that, engaged in that, I have no stress, no turmoil, because that's off me. But the minute it comes back to me in my brain, oh my God, a plethora of things invade my brain, and then I'm back to being stressed, feeling the selfish thoughts, the jealous thoughts, the judgmental thoughts, all that.
Fear, doubt.
Fear. It's all fear. Yeah, it's all a big blanket of fear.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, you're on the money, and I think for you don't have children.
Not that I know of.
Not,
That's my standard answer.
I like
I'm
that
still
answer.
waiting for the knock at the door. Dad, like some 40-year-old or something.
That'd be awesome.
No, God, I don't know. Well, if they had a lot of money.
Yeah. My luck, they'd have a lot of problems for me to solve.
Yeah.
And I like that too, but I'd be like, damn it.
Well, you have plenty of money. So.
Oh yeah. Well. Maybe. That sounded bad, but
that's probably why they're knocking on your door.
Yeah, they're pretending. That's what I'm going to get. Nah, I'm your dad. Nah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'd have had to been about 13. Well, I don't think so.
But you have strong genes, so you would know. Like all your boys look like you. So.
Yeah, man, they would look just like me. Yeah. If I have a daughter,
How many boys do you have?
3.
3 boys.
Yeah,
Wow.
back-to-back boys. Daniel will be 10 here shortly. He's 9. Sebastian just turned 8.
That's a fun age.
Yeah, and then Cameron's 4.
Yeah, I'd like to do what Tony Randall did. He was 73, the actor. He married his wife was 32.
I love it.
And they had a baby. He enjoyed the toddler stage, and then he died. That's great. And he was notoriously gay, I thought, for years. So I think it was all just the range thing.
Just want to have a kid.
I mean, I would want to avoid the teenage years. I don't think I could
and the gay
bear
and the
I
gay
don't know,
part.
man.
and the gay part. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't care. Yeah,
Just need to make that statement. But yeah, having a teenager would be terrifying. If I had a girl, I would be thinking, oh my gosh, I would be worried all the time.
Yeah.
If I had a son, I might be thinking he's going to get in some sort of trouble. I don't know that I was equipped to have children. I'd be too worried about them and all the stuff we're talking about, the world we live in today.
Yeah.
That's what's special about it, though. I'm an old dad.
Yeah.
So I get started late. I have a 4-year-old daughter.
Oh yeah, right.
And I'm 40. But like the thought of missing her teenage years is terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Because before I had a kid, I appreciated the idea. I've always wanted to have a child, but it was never like let's hurry up and have a kid. Like it was not. I had too many things to do.
Yeah.
And I would see like you with your kids and other friends with their children, and it seems special. It was cool. I have a nephew that I love him and he's awesome. But when you have your own child, something changes in you.
I've heard that. Yes.
And it's like you worry like you've never worried before about that. It's like because they're literally a part of you. Like
it's great, but it sucks.
They're literally a part of you, right? That they talk about marriage changing your life. I don't think so necessarily.
No.
Children, though.
Though.
That will change your life. And I would imagine that a child might be the closest someone could get to unconditional love.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Like you would die for your child.
Yeah,
right?
I think
Absolutely.
so.
You would die for your children?
Without question.
Yeah.
Right.
Most spouses would say they wouldn't
die for your
this.
spouse?
No, they'd shoot him.
Hey.
I'd kill my spouse is what they'd say.
Well, I don't know.
I wouldn't say that, honey.
Well, that's a whole fascinating subject. Are we wired? Are we
I would die for my
programmed
spouse,
to be in monogamous relationships?
Yeah,
for
I
our
mean, I
entire
would die
life?
protecting my spouse.
I guess
You
this
would?
situation.
Yeah.
Well, of course you would.
Is there a scenario
I'm
you'd
not
shoot
saying
her?
you wouldn't jump in front of a bullet or protect your spouse, but I'm saying I think there is less of with a child. I would think there is less of a selfishness, less of a me thing, and more of a I'm giving more.
It is, yeah.
Having said that, obviously there are deadbeat parents.
But
Oh,
also,
And that blows my
with,
mind.
Yeah.
There's a special thing about the mother and the child too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it's really complex, so you can't really pinpoint what it is. But even in my house, my daughter, my dogs, myself, we all are like attracted to my wife. Like we, like you know what I mean? Like everybody kind of goes.
You left the
to
door
her.
open. I'm going to say it. So are many other people.
Probably, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like we all go to her. There's some special role a woman has in the house, in our household, as a mother, that it's hard to really put your finger on what that is exactly, but she's so important to my daughter's life that I definitely value their lives more than mine.
Right, and so that goes back to you would obviously do anything to protect your wife, because in the end, if you had to choose, well, if one of us had to leave this earth, it would be me instead of my wife, because it's your wife
she's
is
more
so
important
important
to me,
to the kids, perhaps.
To her, yeah.
It's funny. It's a cruel joke the universe plays, because I always thought, like even now in my late 50s, I'm thinking I would be a great dad, except that I don't have any energy for it. But I would be a great dad in so many ways.
Yeah.
And yet when I was a 21-year-old fucking idiot, no way.
Yeah.
But that's ideally the best time to have a kid is when you're, and even for a woman.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty common to see older parents.
Oh, it's
today.
common, but I'm saying health-wise, physically.
I think you should have one now. And I don't know if you've considered, there's a lot of options. But
You talking to me?
yeah, you
Have one now?
Yeah, 100%.
Literally right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of options, but I'll tell you, I'm not going to put Robert on blast. Too late. Yesterday I had a business meeting, and here locally, and I got to tell you, Robert is in I think Robert's 58 or 59. Robert, if I get your age wrong, I apologize.
He doesn't look that old.
Yeah, he keeps it dialed in. So I'll have to confirm his age. But either way, the girl he was with, I believe, is early 30s.
Yeah.
I don't know if you recognized her or not, but
Yeah.
and I'm like, good for you, good for you, and so you got hope for that, or you can
sure.
You can do like IVF or in vitro. You could pay somebody, or you could adopt.
Well, there's a couple things. One is I think about the long-term financial thing of a child to take them all the way through their adulthood. I simply don't have the means. And two is young girls aren't attracted to me anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I did fall into that ridiculous kind of,
You hadn't
I'm late 40s and I'm dating a 20-something-year-old. That I did fall into.
There are a class of girls that only like older women. Oh, older men. Older men.
And both.
And older women.
No, but I actually enjoy dating women my own age because we have so much in common at this point.
So you could adopt if that ever
Yeah.
I
became
could
a
adopt.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, the adopt financial thing, I'll tell you, there's a very little known thing here. So you cannot be a good foster parent and make money. You can be a shithole foster parent and make money, right? Because what's supposed to happen, let's say you have one child, and let's say that the government's going to give you $400 a month based on it's based on their age, based on what level of expense, right? But it's subsidized cost. Health insurance is free. A lot of these things, there's a lot of things covered. There's money for college, and there's a cost to help subsidize the cost, the financial cost to you. And the reason I bring this up, my wife was in the foster system. It was very important to her that she give back and that she do it because she had shit foster parents that made comments like you're only a car payment to us. They put her in a closet. I mean, like a lot of bad stuff, right? So she didn't want to be that way. And we were at 19 years old at the DSS going through school and getting licensed and first aid and CPR certified, and then found out that they'll let you do all the licensing, but you can't actually foster a child till you're 21. So then we got fully licensed and ready and had to wait. But at 21, we started fostering children before we had our own children, biological children, and we
that was great.
We had 7 children, not all at the same time, and that was an amazing experience. There were opportunities. If you can adopt immediately, but you can foster to adopt, and what happens is they have there's a financial aspect, right? The state, and I hate to be this way, but that child is, on some level, there's a financial burden that's completely on the state. The state is incentivizing people to foster to adopt, because what happens is if you're unwilling to adopt, and the reason for you unwilling to adopt is because you need the financial assistance that comes from being a foster parent. So what the state did years ago was they've got and you have to check this and vet this and make sure it's still accurate, but you could adopt, and what would happen is you adopt, it's legally your child, but they provided some level of assistance through college, essentially, through 18 and then further into college. And it wasn't a lot. I mean, by the time it was the teenage years, I think it was like $700 a month. But
now, how long did you foster these 7?
We were short-term emergency. So Jessica wanted to work with, there were supposed to be short-term placements. And these are like really bad things happen. You get a call and here's 3 kids, or here's 2 kids, or here's 1 kid. And
you're talking about months?
Sometimes days, sometimes months. But,
sometimes days.
I don't want to say their names.
Sure. But did you get close?
I did. There's 2.
That you're still close to, perhaps, now?
No, I'd love to be. They won't. So I don't want to say their name. They should never see this, but if they did, I'd feel bad that I said this. So there were 2, and we got 1. The brother was, I think, 11 months old, and the sister was 4. That was brutal. And when we got foster parent, there's a box you have to check when you get licensed. And at this time, if you didn't check that box, it meant that you weren't adopt ready. And for us, it was like a fail-safe, right?
Right.
By not checking that box, we couldn't make a rash decision and immediately decide we wanted to adopt a child, because what we were trying to do was provide short-term emergency placement for children at risk and help them get to their permanent home, right? Or get through whatever temporary situation they were going through until they could find a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, like somebody to find a different solution.
Sure.
And it's a good thing we did that, because we would have adopted those 2 children. But they were with us for 11 months. It worked out well. The family that adopted them out of Raleigh had successfully foster adopted children, put them all through college. Like, they had a history that that's what they did.
That's sweet.
And so it still worked out very well for them, but that was brutal. That actually broke us. That actually was what kind of stopped us from being able to do it anymore. Like that was brutal.
Got really attached.
Yeah, so we had 7 children, and we just, that one just really messes with you at that point. So it just hard to explain. But my point is that there's a lot of children out there that don't have homes at all. They're living in group homes because if there's not a foster parent that'll take them, right? If there's not emergency placement, they go to group homes. They don't have a lot of things we would take for granted. A group home can be a 5 or 6 bedroom home, and you're thinking, oh, it's a beautiful home. No, it's 5 or 6 bedrooms where each room, sometimes there's 2 beds to a room, and you got children that are being thrust in this, and their clothes are in a black trash bag.
Oh God.
Right? Like, and they live in a home with other children of varying ranges of age, with people that rotate. And these are great people, but they work 12-hour shifts and they rotate, and there is no parent There's none of that. There's a lot of children.
It's an institution.
It is, and there's a lot of children that are stuck in that system, and some of them are extremely young, and obviously, newborn to a year old.
Yeah.
The chance of foster adopt. Some people don't want that either because that has a set of challenges.
Yeah.
But it's a much easier. As that child, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, as the child ages, it becomes more and more likely that they'll never get out of that system.
These are children who are abandoned. These are
Exactly.
children who
Their parents have went to prison. I'll give you an example. This isn't one.
unwed mothers who have a child who say, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Or
Yeah.
I'll give you a real example.
Yeah.
This is terrible, but just to give you some perspective, drug addicted mother has drug addicted people that come over, and they're putting cigarettes out on the skin of the children as a game, right? And then the police get involved. The children are obviously abused, severely abused. Yeah. The parent, the mother, they don't know who the father is. The mother goes to prison for a long time. What happens to the children? Right? Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's the parents have died and there is nobody else. Or the mother did something or the father did something and they're in prison for 12 years. And they've signed away their rights and they're now stewards of the state.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a lot of scenarios that some of them don't involve physical violence towards the children, but the children get stuck in these situations.
Sure.
So
you know how you go, you adopt a pet that's been abused.
Yeah.
Can you imagine children?
Yeah. And the children, even if they weren't
horrible
directly abused, think about the system that they're in. So what I'm saying is that there are options, and there are people out there, and if you wanted to...
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
But if you wanted, that's something to consider.
I was a big brother. That's a wonderful program.
You should do that. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
I would die for the kid. I love him to death. He's 20 now and has a family.
That's
of his
awesome.
own, and we're still close.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I mean, because there are many children in those programs that just don't have a male mentor in their life.
That's right.
Those things are kind of important.
No, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And the advantage of being an older dad is you're more established, and you know who you are, and you're also. I feel like you're able to share more wisdom with your kid.
Oh, no question about it.
But if you're young, you're also less worried.
Yeah.
You're less worried. You have more energy. You're not tired all the time. I can imagine I would just be exhausted.
We could hold like an acting lab. We do like go to the group homes, see if any of them got some acting chops. We could vet them.
There's some big actors that have come out of the out of the system.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is all food for thought.
He's like, all right, we're talking about aliens, science,
fostering a child,
fostering children, conspiracy theories.
Did either of your parents do any acting?
No, I didn't come from any of this.
Okay.
A lot of my members of my family were musical.
Okay.
Certain uncles and stuff. And I played the guitar, and I all my life was into that.
Yeah.
So I've had artistic kind of people, great storytellers like my grandfather, but no one in my family had acted in plays or anything like that.
Okay.
Or tried to go into this. Yeah.
Now, what did your parents do?
Oh gosh, my father was your typical traveling salesman throughout the Southeast, and my mother was a housewife.
Oh, okay.
And then they got divorced when I was in high school, and it sort of made me want to get away.
Yeah.
Like my brother immediately got married. That was his thing. And then for me, it was like, I want to get away. So I went to a school in New York City, an acting school.
Oh, nice.
The American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And just left, right, and started this whole crazy mess.
I like to ask the guests this question because a lot of the stuff that happens to you as a child affects where you go in life.
It does.
Yeah.
I still struggle with all that stuff. Divorce is not easy, It sort of stamps this indelible print on your head, on your brain of what the way relationships should or should not work.
Right.
And you struggle to try to make your own work, and you've got residual of what you witnessed growing up, and it can be.
Well, plus you have their DNA in you too.
And you have their DNA. Yeah. Really, in many ways, I've been lucky not to get married too quickly and
Right.
and go through a couple of divorces or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So being single's strange. I it may be my own paranoia, but I can feel people give me that sort of sideways look, like, what's wrong with you? You know? And I go, really? You've been
Yeah.
divorced 3 times,
Well,
and
the
I'm
divorce
the one
rate is
who's weird.
50%.
Give me
so.
a
Well,
break.
it's
Yeah.
report yesterday, 61%, and
Oh, it's gone up.
this is the kicker. They estimate 12% of the people still married are not together.
Yeah.
They just haven't went through the divorce process.
Yeah, because it's
Wow.
too much money. They
Yep.
can't
Yeah.
afford
They
it.
can't afford to get
Yeah.
divorced.
I understand that, yeah.
So now we're in the 70s. If we're
Wow,
being
that's
technical.
insane, yeah.
Again, that's a. I love that topic of discussion. Are we wired to be in monogamous relationships?
Yeah, there's actually a book about that. Who wrote that book? Is it Jonathan Haidt, maybe? It's called, I've got the book, actually.
Yeah, I grew up thinking that we were, and that that the white picket fence, and it's all got to be a certain way, and if it's not, you're a failure.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not the way it is at all. And I think that if we could grow up in a healthy way, understanding that there are seasons in your life, and there are people that come in and people that leave, and it's just the way that it is. And if we could maturely approach that, then I think we would appreciate the relationships more, and then also we'd know when it was time to leave.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
it's Christopher Ryan. It's Sex at Dawn.
No, okay. Sex at Dawn.
Sex at Dawn.
Okay.
How we mate, why we stray, and what it means. What it means for modern relationships.
I still go back to Moonlight, the old movie, when Olympia Dukakis goes, "I figured it out. Why men cheat? They're afraid of death." You know, and I think of those kinds of things. It's just you want to just procreate as much as you can and be with as many people as possible, because it'll somehow give you this life force, and you'll continue. And but then again, there's something to be said. And I joke, but really, I do feel like I missed out on that long-term family devotion and commitment where you can grow and mature in that environment.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Well, there's also some, there have been a lot of studies done on cognitive decline that show that if you stay single into old age, you're more susceptible to dementia or Alzheimer's, because we're social animals. So we need those relationships. But you can, as long as you have friends in your life and
I am going to leave
close
this
friends.
podcast thinking I am so fucked up.
Yeah. He's heading to the villages in
I mean,
Florida.
it's like, I don't do anything. I need to get a foster child and have a wife, and I think I have dementia.
Well, I think like he's saying with the marriage thing, I don't think you have to have that traditional family structure to be a successful human, because we're constantly evolving. I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
Homo sapiens have been here for 300,000 years plus, and our social dynamics have changed drastically during that time.
Yeah.
I think the key is having social relationships with other people.
No doubt about it. I was thinking about this the other day, how important that is to have connection. And I'm so grateful, because I have a nice little circle of amazing, great friends. And then I have an even wider, huge circle of acquaintances that I will occasionally, I mean, I don't reach out as much as I could. It's funny, being off social media makes me reach out more. I reach out and say, let's get a coffee.
So that makes sense. Yeah,
Well, social media gives you this illusion that you're actually in touch with people.
right. Yeah, like you
And you're
see them
not.
every day, but
That's
you really haven't
ridiculous.
talked to them in months or years. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Or ever. Like,
know.
there's some people that I will meet that I've known on social media,
Yeah.
and I'll meet them, and I feel like I know them, but I've never met
But
them.
you've never met them. I had that happen.
And it's weird.
And then there are some people that from your past that I feel like we're not supposed to be friends again.
Right.
I don't. We had our little window.
Yeah.
Why the fuck am I seeing all this about you now? 30 years later, I don't need it.
That's funny. Yeah.
And you don't need it either. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so silly.
But maybe it's not. Maybe it's maybe that's part of the evolution.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because we're all.
But with that comes more alienation and less real communication. So, one of my favorite movies is Her with Joaquin Phoenix, and I think about what he had
I need to watch that.
his girlfriend was the
An AI.
an AI, and she was seeing like 38,000 other people or something. it was a very strange concept, but it was a brilliant script by Charlie Kaufman, who's brilliant, and those are the kinds of things I'm attracted to. The psyche, the things we go to is, and speaking of acting, I love flawed people, flawed characters, contradictions.
Well, they're more interesting.
Fickle. That's what we really are. I despise idealized sort of and earnest people who want to. I don't buy any of that crap. So if anyone's touting something, if it gets preachy for me, I'm out. And that's why I hate politics, because I don't buy any of that fucking bullshit.
Well, it's very narcissistic in its nature.
Oh, yeah. People are flawed, and that's interesting to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
Can we, I don't know if this ties into what you're saying, but how come villains can't win sometimes, by the way?
Well,
they do.
They do. They do in certain stories, you mean, like or movies?
Like
they
films?
do in like an independent film. If it's a big major release, they're not going to.
I
Good
would-
has to triumph over evil, and for some reason that gives us this.
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. Right? Which is
It's a brilliant
masterpiece.
movie.
Yeah. But in your Marvel movies, you got to have the heroes win,
Yeah, because it's a hero-based film.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, we cheered that
series.
stuff. I remember seeing Star Wars at the Janus Theaters in 1977, and just my heart's pumping when Harrison Ford comes in with a Millennial Falcon and saves. It's just for some reason we love that.
Well, and arguably in a lot of horror movies, the villains win.
Yeah.
Like if you look at all the Friday the 13th movies, really Jason wins every time. He just doesn't win the whole thing. Like he'll come back later to finish it up.
I thought we grew up in a great time too. I might be getting off subject too, but I love when we grew up, or when I grew up, because we appreciated things more. I think like I would have to catch a movie that came on TV at like midnight. It's on tonight, and you have to be there for it, very present. And then when the commercials came on, you'd run to the bathroom or go get something to eat, and then you had to come back to it. Everything now, you just pick up the phone and you can watch a movie.
So immediate.
And no one, it doesn't have as much of an impact.
No.
And we're becoming so fucking jaded.
Yeah.
And but back then it was a great time to grow up.
Even going to the movie store is exciting. Like
Even going to the movies
You
is
go to the movie
exciting.
store and you walk around for an hour and a half to pick out a movie.
Oh, you mean like at old Blockbusters or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
It was. Yeah, it really was.
Or even before Blockbuster, like the reel-to-reel video or
Yeah,
whatever the local movie
Everything's
store
changing
was.
so fast now, it's hard to keep up. Even at the studio, it's hard to keep up because the media which we're working in is, well, now with COVID, all the protocol has changed. And so I think most things now are going to be Netflix and Amazon and all that.
Yeah.
Going to the movies,
Which
may
is
not
great
be
for
what
actors, though, because
It's
there's
great for
so
actors
much
'cause
more
there's
content.
There's a lot of content. Now, with that, most of it's crap, in my opinion.
There's a lot of crap, yeah.
But I'll work on crap.
I'll take it.
Pays the same. And, I used to get off on doing the theater. That's what made me happiest. And that's what I'm mourning, because I think it's going to be, well, it's a horrible thing for me to say, isn't it, that it's going to be done. It's going to alter.
I don't know.
It's
It'll
going to alter.
evolve. Yeah.
It'll evolve.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid we're going to lose a lot in the meantime, because over this next year, 2-year period, they're not going to make it.
I'm on the Ray Kurzweil train anyway, so I feel like the next 2 decades, our whole society is going to drastically change because of technology.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I think in 20 years, this could be an alien society to us. based
Yeah,
on the
but
experience.
I may not be here, and that's okay. That's cool.
Oh, come
I mean,
on,
my
you'll be.
father's
You're not
still,
that old.
my father's still around, and he's at that point. It's like, I'm done. I'm not even trying to understand.
You might be
what's
30
going
again,
on.
though.
I may be 30 again because of technology.
Yeah.
We go back.
Genetic technology, yeah.
Okay.
It's really.
So I have
there's
this
some really
opportunity to
advanced
have a
stuff
family.
happening right now.
I get a do-over.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Work for Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that's something to think about. Okay. All right. All right.
So my son, the whole thing that brought up this, why can't the villain win? My son that just turned 8, Sebastian, he said, how come Darth never wins? How come, like all these little, he's watching these cartoon versions of battles. Jesse, what were you going to say about that?
Darth wins all the time. What are you talking about? That's the thing. He just win. Like they start off, he's winning. He's holding the guy choking him. At the end of Rogue One, he's winning all the way through.
Right, yeah. And he's pretty old,
I get
too,
what you're
right?
saying, though. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's kind of cool. But in the spirit of that, we were like, you know what? So this last trip to Disney, we were rocking the villains. Like all the shirts were villain shirts. Like the kids were like, yeah, why not?
Rooting for the bad guys fun.
Yeah,
bad guys are more interesting and fun to play anyway.
Well, the bad guys their characters are more deep. Like there's more to them.
It's interesting.
They're more complicated.
The time whenever I've run into or met celebrities or actually been on a set, the people who play the heavies and the bad are usually the coolest in real life.
Makes sense.
It's just a little interesting tidbit. I don't know why that is. I'm not saying the heroes are always assholes, but sometimes it's just it's disappointing every once in a while if you meet someone who's a little.
Well,
it's like, they're kind of a dick.
One of my screenplays that did really well on the circuit last year, the villain's my favorite character. Like I actually had to go back and rewrite a lot of the main characters and stuff because he was too boring. Like the villain was just so interesting, and he just overpowered the whole story. Mm-hmm. You know, and even the feedback I got from some of the festivals, like, we love the villain, you know, like he's such a cool character.
Yeah, I love characters that are written that are a little more ambiguous, or they evolve into something else, like the show Breaking Bad. You know, it's like, who's our hero, and what is he by the end? What is it really?
The anti-hero is the hero now.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's very interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess it's a tragedy too, right? So.
Yeah. It's all Shakespearean. It all goes back to that. They say every plot is one of Shakespeare's plays.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what's?
All right, I got to make a checklist of all the things I got to do today because I put in my head here.
Okay.
I'm all fucked up.
Call my therapist.
Yeah.
First, I'm gonna be driving home, going, "What is wrong with my life? Or did I take a wrong turn?"
No. So what's coming up for you? Do you have any big
I
projects coming up or anything?
No, I like I said, I'm just now starting to get back to auditioning, and I turned in a couple of mediocre auditions first, in my opinion. I was a little rusty. I just hadn't done anything in a while. I've been helping a lot of other people, and hell, for one of mine, I had so many lines I had to like put the lines up on cheat sheets, you know, and kind of like, I'm okay at that, but you still can't help looking like you're reading.
Yeah, I heard that George Clooney does a lot of that, or used to.
I don't
know.
I mean, people on sets do it. They do it. You cheat any way you can, you know. So yeah, I can't memorize like I used to.
Yeah.
But you know, so what's coming up? I don't know. I have no idea what's coming up. But I always have the faith that sooner or later this old dude will book something.
Oh, I'm sure you. Yeah, you've got a great resume.
I don't think about it. I just don't. There was a time when I was 30, I was terrified. I was thinking about everything. I got to book something. I better hurry up. I'm running out of time. And now that I let go of all that, and I started doing that maybe in my late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
I truly don't even think about it, and I book more work.
Fortunately, I was trained to do that. So, like, you know, I was taught to do an audition and completely forget about it. And I do. Like, I can't.
You can't. Well, you can't hold on to that crap. But I got beat up in L.A. You know, I had too many people tell me, "Nah, you're not blah blah blah" or whatever. And you finally get to the point where you go, you know what? No one is going to be in my corner, and it's really about me doing it.
I feel like it was a lot harder when you were doing that too, because that was the time when you had to go to the auditions.
You did have to go to the auditions. Well, even in North Carolina, before I moved to L.A., you know, I have one good buddy. We would usually get called in at the same time. We'd carpool to Wilmington, wherever, Asheville, do the audition, get in the car, drive back. Halfway, pager goes off, find a payphone, get some change, pump it in the payphone. My agent goes, they want you to turn around and come back and read something else, you know. Or that happened. That's very common.
Now, those would be hard to forget about.
Those are difficult. I did not like the in-person. A lot of people miss them. I don't like them. I like having a controlled environment and be able to do my own thing. But, they have it so easy now. That's why I get upset with certain students who are lazy. They'll come in and do a scene. They don't know how to pronounce something. Are you fucking kidding me? Pick your phone. I'll pick my phone up right now. Google, how do you pronounce so-and-so?
Right.
Done.
Yeah.
You know?
There's no excuse.
No excuse for anything now.
Yeah.
They have everything right there. And, we had to travel a lot in the old days.
Yeah,
it was fun.
If I have to drive to another state or city or something to audition in person, it's a lot harder to forget about that one because you've put a lot of effort into doing it. Like if you have to fly to New York and do an audition, you're really hoping for a callback.
Oh yeah,
and you try not to think about it, but it's still there. But if I taped an audition, like if I taped an audition last week, I've already forgotten about the next day.
Sure.
I mean, this week you asked me what it was. I have to really think about it.
Oh, I've had a lot of
Remember what I
long,
did.
lonely rides coming back from Atlanta, for instance, or something.
Yeah.
You know, where you get in the car. And
Right.
you go, God, why did I get up from the table when I knew I was fine there and I needed to just, you know, and I got to carry that with me in my head for 6 hours while I'm driving.
There's a lot more pressure when you do in-person auditions too.
A lot more pressure.
Yeah.
I immediately have that thing that still kicks in to want to please someone else.
Right.
Whereas
Yeah.
when I'm taping, I'm able to stay in my little bubble.
Which is nice.
Which
Because
is what it's really like.
It's
when you get on
actually
set.
more like being on set.
Yeah.
The tape.
And that's where that's how we
better.
train at the studio for when you're in that little bubble on set. Now we do tell them they have lots of people around, so it's good to be able to do it in front of your students because you have all these crew members around. But still, it's this little bubble. That's all it is. You and me. You know, why are you shouting? Your actor's 1 foot away from you. 2 feet.
Yeah.
You know, those kinds of things.
I did an audition a couple years ago in Atlanta, and it was really strange because there were so many people in the room. Like there was like a whole table
Yeah.
with a panel of people.
Yeah.
And then you had people standing around.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, that can be
guys,
intimidating.
it's just.
I don't mind those as much as when I was still doing commercial auditions. I just don't go on them anymore because I
don't
feel
do
like I'm not
commercial
going to book them.
auditions.
I used to
I
book
mean,
a lot of commercials when I was
I
young.
would do it if it was.
But now it's not worth it because I got to go. Usually, got to go to a callback, say down to Charlotte or something, and I'll get a good bit of callbacks. But I'm like, oh God! You go to the room and there's all these ad people behind a table from Food Lion or NASCAR or whatever the product is. They don't know anything about acting necessarily, but they just know what they like and what they don't like. And I remember the last one I did. I just had to go down there and walk to my mark and pick up an orange and kind of look up at the sky. It's ridiculous. I'm thinking, what am I doing?
That's why I don't like
It's just so
commercials.
fucking crazy. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like acting.
And you've got
it's
all these
just-
people in the room looking.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. For what?
Yeah.
It's just silly.
You gotta
So
bring
yeah.
props.
So yeah.
What was your point of view in that?
So being older, I guess a lot of it's being older and being around a bit. I don't feel the pressure of saying, "Oh, I got to do every audition.
Yeah.
I've got to do that." It's I try my best to do things that I only want to do.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
That's good.
to some degree at least.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to not have to do it for my, to pay my bills.
Yeah.
So, which is nice. So
Yeah.
there's no pressure. Like if I don't
Yeah.
If I don't get it, I just don't get it.
Oh yeah, you can, as I say, you can smell that desperation
Yeah.
when actors come in the room and they need the job.
Right.
I used to have that, like I said, hovering around when I was 30, early 30s, and then when I let that go, it's extraordinary the difference.
Yeah, you feel more comfortable, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still get nervous, and if you get that call to producer, it's down to you and a couple of people for this recurring role on Walking Dead. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
You're human.
Yeah.
You're not crazy.
Yeah, but I don't. But like you said, I can forget about him. I mean, because most people, they hold on to these auditions for too long, or they have people in their family. Did you hear about? Did you hear back? Did you hear back? And I got so tired of all that.
Yeah.
I had one comedian friend in L.A. used to say, "This is hilarious." She said, "I'll go on an audition, and my parents will always say, Did you? When do you find out? When are you going to find out?" And she goes, "Mom, you don't really find out.
Yeah.
You figure it out. You're
It would be
watching
nice if
TV.
they
You're
let you
watching
know or
TV.
something, but-
You see the show that you auditioned for. Another actor's playing the part."
Yeah, that's it. I remember doing that audition.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
I did not get that part.
Yeah. It would be nice if they just send you like a pass.
Well, they do at some level.
Well, if you get
but
callbacks,
right,
multiple
right.
callbacks.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't get much nowadays is feedback, because you send it in. For all you know, the tape you sent in was sitting in the producer's room, and they were struggling between you and one other actor for this huge role, and you never find out
I know.
that you went that far along. But what I tell all my students is pretty much what I believe the truth to be. If casting directors are still continuing to call you in
Yeah, so
to
when-
audition, that means you're doing something right.
Right. Yeah. That's what we were taught too. Is that be excited about the auditions because that's working. You
get a chance to act today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
because how often do you really act? Even
Right.
when you're working.
Yeah. You're not
You're
getting
just
that
sitting
opportunity.
around. It's just sitting around. Then they bring you to the set.
There's
You might
something
run through
different
it.
too when you have it's a real job. You've got the pressure
Yeah.
of doing a good audition. So it's the same type of feeling as being on set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe even, I think it's actually more intense. Because
What?
once you get the job, you're relaxed.
Oh yeah, because auditions are the hard work. That's where you need to work the hardest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Not the hard, but it's the most pressure.
being on set's a whole different.
Right,
It goes to another level.
Once you make it to the set, you're
but
happy.
you should ideally, once you get on the set, be more relaxed because you've got the job.
Yeah, right.
You
yeah.
could lose it, I imagine, but this is the exciting time when you get to work with I get to work with this name actor and do this scene and this is great.
Really
That's
cool.
the gravy.
Yeah.
But the most difficult part are the workmanship part of it is learning your lines, which I don't like doing. It's not fun, but that's your job.
Part of it, yeah.
And then finding it in the audition.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have any advice for up and coming actors?
Yeah, get out of the business, do something else.
That's not good advice.
No, I would never tell my students that. I don't know. I would tell I tell them what you would expect. I would tell them if they truly love it, and it causes no anguish or pain or anxiety, or at least that's much smaller than the love and the passion for it. Then keep doing it. Find a way. But that you don't have to make a living at it. You could do something else and do little theater on the side. Of course, I don't know now, but yeah, you could find little projects to do on the side. It's a maddening business to try to get into, to think this is how I'm going to make my living.
Yeah.
That's almost impossible. And but as we touched on earlier, when you do get to work, it can be lucrative. It can be, and it's certainly loads of fun often when you're on a movie set.
Yeah. The fun is way more than the pay.
Yeah, for me to tell anyone anything, everyone knows if they're going to continue or not. Advice is, I mean, I've had many people tell me to get out of it, and should I have listened? Maybe, and maybe not. I don't know. Does it matter? I mean, you're going to end up doing it if you want to do it. You're going to keep.
Yeah, that's why you're doing it, because you want to do it.
I mean, there are people that are not very talented that keep plugging away and eventually get little things here and there, but they're not going to stop. I can tell. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Talent's subjective, but to me, the proof in the pudding is: are you working? Are you ever booked work? But if they have a dream, or if they are stubborn, or whatever's behind that, and they keep doing it until they are in the box in the ground, good for them. I mean,
Yeah, as long as they're happy.
Yeah, as long as it feeds some part of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's right.
Life is short.
Yep.
That's true too.
Okay. Because I get the foster child. I'm a loser. I might get another chance.
Yeah.
AI.
Life is short.
30. Life is short.
Aliens.
Aliens. Oh, aliens. Yeah.
Aliens, yeah.
Okay. I think we've about covered it.
Well, Lee, it's been awesome having you on.
Thank you.
And,
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
And I guess you don't have any social media or anything. You could plug the
I don't.
In-studio.
The studio does. Instudio.org. InStudio is on everything, I believe. Instagram, Facebook. It's in/studio.org. Drew Matthews runs the studio. There's a whole plethora of us teachers there, and we do everything from, we do one-stop shop.
And it's in Greensboro, North Carolina.
It is in Greensboro, and we've expanded. We're huge. It's gorgeous. Come on by.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys enjoyed the episode, be sure to like and subscribe. See you next week. Thank you,
guys.
Thank you.